Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About the Football from last weekend. It's episode 13. Unlucky 13. It's a Monday, or Monday as I like to say. It's been a great weekend of football with some historic moments that are going to be cherished by people forever. There's been a lot of chat, a lot of debating, a lot of scenes of happiness, and a lot of goals. And it's been fantastic. I'm hesitant to say sponsored by Lionade. We are still sponsored by Lionade. However... Oh, sorry, I better introduce Martin's on the show.
Hey, hearing you loud and clear.
Didn't ask you how you were hearing me.
No.
Yeah, so we might be getting a new sponsor, which was news that broke just before we started. Martin, I did send you a text about it. It's a new Chinese company called Veloxitact. And they sound great. It's a sports performance apparel brand specialising in GPS tracking sports jerseys and training wear. The innovative products help football players optimise their performance, track their progress, and gain valuable insights into their game. They've sent a tagline across, we're the future of football, which is quite clever, actually. We are the future of football, but it isn't that. It's wear. So, because it's clothing. But yeah, as I say, probably shouldn't have mentioned the name yet, but we are working hard on a deal, and hopefully we'll have an update by the end of the show. Speaking of shows, there was no Turnstile Count episode this week.
Yeah.
Why?
Right, well, I knew that you were going to come at me with this. So, so Monday, I finalised the podcast with Rory and took him for a carvery, and then midnight, call centre. Tuesday, defrosting a fridge freezer, much harder than expected, took all day. Midnight, call centre. Wednesday, overtime, call centre, triple shift. Thursday, bear in mind I'd hardly slept, I called Rory. He was having his tag removed. Good news. By that time, he was free. I had an IBS attack, had to return home, and I watched Bridesmaids to cheer me up. Friday, could have done the show, not going to excuse Friday. And by the time Saturday came around, I was back in work. So the attendances by then would have overlapped. And I know that you know that.
No, I know that, but I still think it's important that we push out content because we're trying to get out of the financial ick.
Well,
and you know that.
As we say in the podcast industry, Q over Q.
Which means...
quantity over quality. No.
Yep.
Quality over quantity.
No, I actually agree with the first one. I agree with the first one. I always have... Do you want a big bowl of chips that you can eat and eat and eat, and they're just okay? Or do you want an amazing meal, but you're not full? You need to eat some crisps when you get home.
Obviously, I want the bowl of chips, but in this scenario, I think I wouldn't just push out content for the sake of it. I'm proud of the attendance pod.
So, we've missed one now, so that won't segue up. I was hard at work when you were away for reasons that we won't get into again. I was hard at work. I delivered on time. I got a lot of messages saying how great those episodes were.
Oh, brilliant.
All in vain. All in vain. And if we're going to carry on, if we're going to get out of this mess, then we need to work together again properly.
It's nice to know that you're putting some value into the Turnstile pod.
Let's crack on with the action. That's what everyone's here to hear. Chelsea played Everton, and that was actually Everton's last game away at Chelsea whilst they still played at Goodison Park, which a bit of a momentous occasion and a momentous game, 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, not much to say on this really. I'm still not convinced by Chelsea. 1-0 was about right. Everton, they need to sign goal scorers. I was going to say they can't buy a goal. I've never understood that phrase, though, actually. I mean, because you can't buy a goal anyway, can you? It's like, surely the emphasis of such a phrase should be that they can't acquire something that's easily acquirable. I mean, do you get that?
Well, maybe they're talking about buying a goal frame.
Right.
So they're that poor they can't buy a goal frame in order to play football. It could be something like that. I don't know. Search me for the etymology there. I did find out the other day that the etymology behind the word boudoir is it was a French word for to sulk.
No.
So like a sulking room.
Sorry, overstated that.
Brighton. It was a bright day in Brighton for Brighton, and they won 3-2. Graham Potter and his Chamber of Tactics. Nope. Heartburn.
Yeah, great game, great goals, great celebrations, actually. And I don't know whether anyone else has noticed this. Thomas Souček, he does a kind of windmill celebration. It's become his thing. Now, as you know, Jamie, I'm a bit of a nuanced observationalist. I remember 1994, Tottenham at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Jurgen Klinsmann, he was the first to do that. And his windmill was fantastic. So any listeners at home, do get onto YouTube, have a look at his celebration. That's the way to do the windmill. Thomas Souček, 3.2. He needs to brush up on it.
Well, of course, that came into the public consciousness this season after he scored against Leicester, but he didn't do the celebration because he felt that it wouldn't be right to mimic a helicopter in the ground where a man died in a helicopter, crash landing at Filbert Street, King Power Stadium.
I did not know that. That's really interesting. But obviously he carried it on away from Leicester, almost doing it behind the back, really, isn't it? Well, okay, here's the helicopter,
My
but
question
obviously...
is he thinking about that the whole time? Is he thinking about that dead Leicester chap?
Well, he is now.
Every time he does it.
Well, that's what the referee... Obviously, we go back to the Iliman Ndiaye one against Brighton, where he flaps his hand like a seagull, gets the booking.
Yeah. Newcastle United 3, Ipswich 0. Goodbye, Ipswich. It was nice having you. You were very nice. You were like a little greyhound who has expired. Newcastle, 3 goals. Free Jacob Murphy playing excellent again. What a player. Player of the season, Mart?
Well, he's sort of come good halfway through the season, or become brilliant halfway through the season. I don't know if he did enough in the first half to overtake the likes of Salah, who I'm sure we'll come on to. Look, I wanted more from Newcastle because they've really been filling the boots recently. Okay, the Villa game was an outlier, but against 10-man Ipswich, I wanted the goals to rain. And maybe I'm being spoilt because they did win the game 3-0 for God's sake. But my wife, for instance, she said, "Ugh, I hate Newcastle United." I said, "Pardon?" She said, "I hate Natalie Cassidy." So I don't know whether she was having a pop or not, but I'll let it pass. I mean, what
You've got a wife?
Yeah.
It's new depths, Martin.
And it didn't happen overnight.
I hope you kept that one quiet.
Well,
and why?
Listen, I just want you to know that it's not that you weren't invited to the wedding. It was a private ceremony, only allowed 5. I'm not saying that you're not in the top 5, of course.
Sounds like you're saying that.
But I think when you run down the list...
We've had our disagreements, but I don't know. I'm finding out a lot of shit about you that I'm not comfortable with.
This was during our cooling off.
What, in the last 2 weeks?
I'm sure you'll forgive me.
Is she one of your call centre gals?
No. So, it's a rather deep rabbit hole that we're going down. Okay, so there was an initial wedding. This was in 2017. You wouldn't have known about that for other reasons, which we can put off for another day. For God's sake, we're doing football here. And then in terms of the revows, that's not the word. I can't think what the word is. We were having a cooling off period, so that explains that.
I'm an open book. You're not. You're closed. Fucking hell. Southampton 1, Fulham 2. You're probably going to tell me that it wasn't that now, aren't you? Some other fucking thing that I have no idea about.
No, just a relief to get back to the football. And Southampton, you've got to feel sorry for them, haven't you? There's nothing worse in football than conceding in the last minute or in stoppage time as they did. But that's just the icing on the cake, isn't it, for the whole season? I don't know whether there's a kind of opposite to icing on the cake, you know, the kind of turd on top of the turd pie. Can I just Google that, actually?
Turd on the turd pie.
Well, yeah, I know, that was crude, sorry.
What you could do, you could have diarrhea as the sauce. So you could have a turd, and then you could diarrhea over it, put that in 2 other turds.
Okay, here we go. They're all quite mainstream, actually. Salt in the wound, kick in the teeth, insults. Yeah. I mean, you could have intervened.
No, I'm learning a lot today. Wolves 3, Leicester 0. Wolves acting like the wolves they are, tenacious beasts, shagging the hind legs off the foxes.
Well, exactly, and it was the principal shagger, Cunha, again, wasn't it? You know, the kind of blasé nightclub action man. He's chucking down the cocktails, he's throwing moves on the dance floor like a cat, and then he's looking for a fight at the end of the night. You get all of that in 90 minutes and more. And of course, you get the one sleeve of his shorts pulled up, and all the great players do that. And there's no better exponent of that than him. You know, he loves to show a bit of thigh, and the girls go crazy, and so do I. This guy has it all, and it's all at the expense of Leicester. And if we're extending that scenario out, then Jamie Vardy too. You know, this is the guy approaching 40. He's got into walkabout. He sees Cunha, and he's suddenly feeling old. It's too old for those spray-on jeans. You know, he's being labelled an old perv by the girls, and really, you know, at 38, he's chucking back the Red Bulls. He's got to know that his time's up.
Probably his stalker is also in the club, maybe in the toilets. No splash, no gash. Sunday came around after a big night out for everyone on Saturday night. Sunday fun day. Bournemouth 1. Manchester United. What? I nearly said 0 then.
Well, it should have been 0, shouldn't it? I mean, that game, once again, spoilt by the man in black, or the man in... Yeah, he ruined it. And actually, that links into something that I've put together here. We had some feedback last week on my short stories. We'll call it feedback, shall we? As you know, I'd been working on a sitcom. I think it was called White People Queuing for Pies or something. It was a new sitcom. And as you know, I had my support from the channel pulled.
I'm sorry about that.
But it was you that pulled it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, I thought maybe I could do more stories. Bit long was the general feedback I was getting last week. So this time it's more of, well, it is a poem. And it's my take on the Evan Nielsen red card. It's called The Coward. "It's a kettle," said the boy. "Foolish," said the scout leader. "It's a bomb," he said. And he should know. He has 50 certificates in 50 fields. Many more than the boy. He had none. "Press off where it says off," said the boy. "Foolish," said the twat. "We must refer to the manual, for the manual decides what's on and what's off." "Off means off," cried the boy. "Foolish," spoke the manual, as plain as it was ritual. "Off does not mean off. Rule 42A. Dismantle the kettle, rewire the circuit, seek a higher opinion." "But this will take all day," said the boy. "Foolish!" The scout leader clobbered him across the chops like a butcher. It's 1973 in this story. "We must get it right," he said. But it wasn't about saving man. It was about saving his own skin. A skin not owned by himself, but by the order of World Scouts. The Scout leader had no freedom to simply press off. His freedoms were threatened not by jail or extradition, but by the threat of a 2-match ban from the FA Referees Committee. "Your father's a coward," said a fellow Scout. Plot twist, the Scout leader was the boy's father. Was it a kettle? Was it a bomb? Or a JCB? He had forgotten how to trust himself. So he clung to the manual and still got it wrong.
You lost me.
Yeah.
Right, the final game of the weekend was Liverpool. Do we have to talk about this one?
It's their day, isn't it?
Okay. I guess everyone's everyone's talking about it, so I guess we should just, people are expecting it, so go on.
Yeah, this is a bit like the equivalent of when the teams have to give them a shield of arms in the following week.
Cacophony of arms.
Yeah, so they play Chelsea next week. I don't think that's going to go down well at Stamford Bridge, to be honest. But that's next week. Jamie, I'm going to give you a date. Saturday, the 17th of August. Do you know what that was?
No?
That was when Liverpool
Hillsborough.
won this league. It was their opening
Right.
fixture, and they've had it in the bag since. And didn't Anfield look majestic? That red sea of fans bathed in sunshine. But it was the morning that warmed my heart. I'm from that neck of the woods, and I drove through Broad Green and Old Swan, and there were houses everywhere, adorned with Liverpool paraphernalia. And that is a trend only done by Liverpool fans. It's a kind of residential virtue signalling. And I saw a couple, I'd say about 50 years old, in the act of actually plastering their house from top to bottom in flags, posters, cutouts of players. And, I thought, that's what kids do. Okay, it looks tacky. They're probably uneducated. But the magic of football somehow makes that feel okay. And I would like to congratulate them. I'd like to congratulate their fans. And I'm really talking about people, across the country, Northampton, for instance, people who have a passing interest in football, who have adorned their house in Liverpool merchandise, who are out there today wearing their tops and seeing other Liverpool fans out in Northampton and saying, isn't it great to be us, and acting performatively. I'd like to congratulate the fans in Liverpool as well, predominantly made up of the Irish contingent, but I would sincerely like to congratulate the vast number of foreigners that I play football with in Liverpool who have latched on to the emotional tourism of the whole thing. And I look out the window, Jamie, and they are everywhere. And you think, don't you? You think to yourself, am I next? Will I be converted? It seems only a matter of time before I'm supporting them as well. And do you know what, Jamie? I'm going to ask you this question. I think they're bigger than Man United now.
In terms of the shit stakes, they're on a par with them. The good thing about this weekend is that they have been in decline for a number of weeks now. Very lucky they were playing Tottenham in this game, because if you're going to play anyone in the league, you want to be playing Tottenham at home. They've got nothing to play for. Next season, I'm calling it now, slot's gone by April. This is the start of a great decline.
Are we in danger here of a kind of ad hominem attack where they've won the league and we're having to pick up on the way that they
I don't give a shit. I think they're all cunts. And I think anyone who isn't a Liverpool fan agrees. And the way that we're spoon-fed shite by the media who all support Liverpool, the VAR twats who all support Liverpool, fucking cunts, and I fucking hate them. And yeah, I mean, let's manifest it. Let's manifest the end of their reign. That was the football from last weekend, and thanks for listening, everyone. I do mean that. Sorry, I've just had a text. Okay, right.
What is it?
Sorry, I'm just reading it. So, Veloxitact have said that they're happy to sponsor the show, providing Rory isn't a part of it, just because of the sex act that he took part in. They don't want to be associated with that. They've ended the text with train smarter, not harder, with Veloxitact's GPS tracking jerseys.
Has there been any offer of complimentary merchandise for you and I?
There has. We would get five each, and obviously a little bit of money coming our way. If we mention the name, we get 250 quid each time we mention the name. But they don't want Rory anywhere near it because they don't want their brand being associated with a paedophile. I know he's not a paedophile, but I'm reading between the lines here.
Yeah.
We'll
talk
about it off air. Having said that, if we don't go with them, I don't know if we can carry on with the podcast because I've running out of money. And thanks for listening, everyone. Please subscribe, like, and share.